Steve, start with injuries. You were hoping to have Mo Diarmi back this weekend. Has he had a slight setback?
Yeah, he had a slight setback. He took a knock to his knee on Monday, and we've took him off it all week. We did have precautionary scans and X-rays to see how the actual injury was, and thankfully everything's okay. But as you can imagine, he couldn't have, anywhere to take a knock like he has done. He didn't want it there, so it's set him back a while. We don't think it's going to be too long. In fact, we hope that he'll be joining in training maybe the middle of next week again. So it's set us back a week, 10 days. So unfortunately, he's not going to make tomorrow.
Has the break done Jelavic good?
Well, the one thing about Jelavic, we needed time, as I've explained for a lot now, that he arguably came back a little bit too quick. Jelavic has trained all week, so certainly the extra bit of time has certainly helped him, and where we thought it would help Diarmi too, and unfortunately it hasn't. So, but Jelavic is going to be okay.
Bit of momentum to take into the game.
Well, I mean, it's we say every week. You ask me the same questions. A big game. They're all big games in this league, but it's now getting down to the nitty gritty of it. The tickly bit's about to start, and there'll be all sorts of results which will be not expected. So we've given ourselves a right good chance. We've had a good couple of games. Can we go and win back-to-back games? That's huge if you can do that. But then again, QPR will be buoyed by their recent result at Sunderland. So it's all to play for. I think it's going to go down to the wire, if I'm going to be honest. There's 8 teams and it's still separated by 3 or 4 points, which is quite remarkable that there's so many teams in it. So we're in it, and we'll just have to win another couple of games if we can.
Your new striker, Ndoye's hit the ground running, which was always going to be important. How impressed have you been with him so far, and what you've seen in training over the last few days?
Well, certainly the week's training he's had since the last game will certainly have helped him in that cause. To get to know the teammates around him. He played the other day then, probably didn't know half the team. I think he's seen half the team, but so he's had a great start. Let's hope that he can score the goals that all of us in the bottom end of the division. You will need to have somebody to score the goals, and let's hope he can do that. He's had a good start. Let's hope it continues.
Charlie Austin back for Queen's Park Rangers. Are you a fan?
Well, a big fan of his. We tried to sign him a couple of years ago, and it didn't quite work out for one reason and another. But it just shows you, a boy who's, come from non-league basically and gone through the leagues, and when you look at his story, it's quite remarkable. So he's had a wonderful time, even though QPR have been struggling a bit. I think he's got 13 goals in a team which is down at the bottom end of the division, which is a fair return. So he's a good player.
Chris Ramsey, it's a great opportunity for him at Queen's Park Rangers, and he's got a lot to prove between now and the end of the season, and he knows a few of your players from his time at Spurs.
Yeah, and they speak very, very highly of him too. He's well respected in the game. He's got a good reputation as a very, very good coach. We're all shocked when Harry, decided that, he needed an operation on his knee. I'd spoke to Harry a few weeks ago, and he was saying how he was struggling with his knee. And obviously Chris has been given a great opportunity. And I wish him well after tomorrow. I really wish him well, because I'm pleased that a young British English coach, if you like, has been given the opportunity again. And over the last couple of weeks, we've seen a 10 returning that a little bit, with Tim Sherwood going in at Villa and Chris Ramsey getting the QPR number. So I really wish him well. I said, City, hope he does well after tomorrow.
They got their first away win in 12 at Sunderland. Is that a relief in some ways that they've got that monkey off their back?
Well, I mean, it had to happen. It had to happen sooner or later. And, the reports I've had have been that they haven't been playing that badly. They just need that break. And, of course, it's quite remarkable that they've gone 12, but they've won one last week at Sunderland, a big game, which has clawed back Sunderland into trouble too. So that's all to play for. They'll be looking at it as a wonderful opportunity for them. and let's hope we can carry on the form of the last couple of games in particular, and if we do that, then we'll be okay.
Last one from me. Luis Figo has launched his
Terrific
campaign with FIFA. In his manifesto, he's talking about bringing back the old offside law.
Well, I can understand that because there's too many grey areas in it. You know, the law was brought in if somebody who's standing on the corner flag, not interfering with play, and somebody shoots and it goes in and you can't give offside for that. I think we're all in agreement with that. But when you see people standing in front of goalkeepers and the balls, they're not supposed to be interfering, and when they're interfering, you know, if somebody's in the penalty box in particular in an offside position, then I think he's right, because there's too many grey areas, big decisions, and I think referees are put under too much pressure in that situation to try and get it right. Are they interfering or not interfering? If you take away the grey area, they're offside, then for me it's a very, very good idea.
Does it make it more difficult to drill your defenders when there is...
Well, you can't do the drills that I used to do. You can't leave a person in the penalty area where we used to clear the penalty area quickly. If it doesn't land to him, then he's not offside. So it's a very difficult one for defenders, and your whole mindset changes. That's why we don't see so many offsides like we used to. So in that respect, it's been quite decent. But I can understand where Luis Figo's coming from, because how many games do we see in this contentious issue? Is he offside or is he not offside? And we all don't know the rule really. We know the basis of the rules, but unfortunately, there's too many grey areas.
He's also talking about sin bins.
Sin bins, is he? Wow. Well, there you go. I think it's quite refreshing that somebody of his stature has come forward. And I think he's got the backing of at least 5 or 6 associations. And we need competition. We need competition, and everybody needs competition, no matter what job you are. And somebody with Luis Figo's reputation, he's been a world-class player. He's always been an ambassador, if you like. So I couldn't think of anybody better at this particular moment to take on Mr. Blatter. And if we're all being honest, we need a bit of competition in that area, because he's run it very, very well for years, but sometimes controversially.
Steve, how's Mike Phelan changed the dynamic in the training ground and the dressing room?
Well, I mean, when you bring in somebody new, I think the first and most important thing is that you give him license to go and do what you've brought him in to do. And his first day in training in particular, I wasn't here because I was in Denmark. So he's experienced, thankfully, enough to bring to the training ground, and it's something different. He's brought in his ideas of what he says and what we do, and touch wood, he's played 2 and not lost yet. So let's hope he can play 12 or 13 and not lost, and then he'll have a huge impact. But it's fair to say he's had a really positive impact on the training ground. I think they've enjoyed something different, and I'm really, really pleased that we've managed to bring him in, because just at the right time, his experience has proved vital, and he's handled the role. Which, look, you don't be 19 years at Manchester United without having something up your locker, up your sleeve. Sorry. So I'm very, very pleased that he's come in and done very well.
And sort of picking up on that, Steve, what's different from the Newcastle game to the 2 performances against Manchester City and Villa that you can take into the QPR game?
Well, I think there was a few home truths spoken after the Newcastle game. I think, let's be fair, we couldn't have got much lower. We were at the bottom. We're at rock bottom. Everybody was concerned. So I think there was a few harsh words spoken, and I think that's the beauty of football. What you're looking for then is a response. We were all hugely disappointed. I think that's understated, the disappointment. We were shocked and disappointed and upset that the way the last half hour in particular against Newcastle. First half was nothing in it. And then you go to the champions and you're thinking, hang on a minute here. So it's probably just what we needed. And we played more like what we're used to seeing, of what we've seen over the last 2.5 years. So the players have had a response. They've responded to Mickey obviously coming in too. And let's hope that we can eradicate that Newcastle performance, because it'll stick with us for a long, long time. Thankfully, the last couple of games, we've seen more like what we're used to seeing. And let's hope we can stay that way for the next 2 months in particular, because we'll need that attitude. It's going to go down to the wire as far as I'm concerned, and we better get ourselves prepared that we're in it. But then again, so is 8 teams. You know, we're 4 points off being 12th, yet we're 4 points off being at the bottom of the table too. So that's how close it is. And let's hope we can just at the right time find a bit of form, which we've found, and hopefully that can see us through.
Okay, and one left field for me. You seem visibly shocked by England's 8-wicket defeat in the World Cup. So, what would your message?
Well, I'm English. I'm English.
As a coach,
Well,
it's
it's a bit like us against Newcastle, isn't it? It doesn't get any worse. So the big thing is that, like everybody, you need a response and come out and show your teeth. And I'm sure we'll be fine in the next game. But I'm English, and we wanted to do well, like everybody else. But I just heard on the radio before I came in that all I heard was England humiliated, and that's all I heard. I didn't realise how bad it was. So I hope they can turn it around, because we'd love to see the England cricket team try and do as best they can.